Julie Olivia, welcome to book club.
Hi, thanks so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
I am so thrilled. I was just telling you before we got on, I've been a longtime fan since your Never Harbor series started coming out. So I am so excited for the opportunity to chat with you today about that and everything you've been working on in between. You've been busy.
It's been a busy year. Yeah, we were chatting just beforehand. Both of us came back from Meet and Greet Cute, which is
Yeah.
like my favorite event of the year, but there's so many more that are about to happen, and yeah, it's just kind of a crazy time right now.
Absolutely phenomenal. Well, thank you so much for fitting me into your schedule and getting to chat. I'm so excited. You just have, I think, something for everyone. So I can't wait to dive into that. But people in book club always expect to know your villain origin story. So, how did you get into reading and how did you get into writing?
I think both can easily be answered by the most cliche answer, which is I've been reading and writing since I was a kid, right? But I think as an adult getting into it, I have always really been into books. I was into YA mostly when I was in high school and college. And then shortly after college, I joined a writing group. I had done some screenwriting classes and I really wanted to dive into that. And in the writing group, I just really got into like long form storytelling and I found romance along the way, specifically indie romance. I got really into Kindle Unlimited. I'm still into Kindle Unlimited.
Of
And
course.
up to that point, I had never fully finished a book. You know, you had a lot of like half drafts here and there. And then once I discovered romance, I was like, okay, let me give this, a shot. And it was the first book I ever finished because I just could not stop writing it. Like I was just immersed in this. I love reading romance. I love writing romance. I love the vulnerabilities between the characters. It's so fun to write. I love character driven stories and yeah, it just kind of all fell into place at around the same time. Like a perfect storm almost.
Oh, how incredible. And those are kind of the moments where you're like, okay, I was made to do this. Like it
Yes,
makes sense.
exactly right. Well, and
Yeah.
like growing up there, I feel like I was always hunting for the romance subplots. Like, you
Yes.
hear that like characters get together later in a TV series and you're like, okay, well now I have to watch the whole series to get to that. And it wasn't until I was an adult that I was like, "Ah, I can get this from the start. Are you kidding
Yes.
me?"
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
amazing. What were some of your favorite romance subplots then that you followed along during those times?
Listen, this might be a deep cut. I don't know.
I love it.
Zoe 101.
Yes.
Listen, okay, I watched Zoe 101 growing up, and but I kind of fell off after like season one. It was good, but then I
Yeah.
found out that like the sciency character gets with the popular bully type guy, and I was like, well, I've got to watch. And it was like what, season four or something? It was
Yes.
so late.
We were
Um,
locked in.
yeah, I caught up to that point because I had to know. So.
Incredible. Yeah, happily ever after. There's nothing quite like it. I also feel like your stories are so beautifully character driven and your settings are so the only word I can really describe is magical, whether it is like nostalgic magic or theme park magic or fairy tale magic. Where do you get your inspiration for your settings and where you're going to place your stories?
Ooh, a lot of times it's just where are places that I really enjoy. Obviously theme parks is like number one. I love theme parks. But I
Incredible.
think some of my favorite places are places that are very nostalgic, like
Mhm.
rooms that you were in as a kid, these memories that are linked with them, hanging out with your siblings and cousins and next door neighbors. And I love writing places that feel very lived in.
Mhm.
The Nancy Meyer's house, essentially. You know what I mean? Like those
Yes.
type of environments where like newspapers might be on the floor and blankets are never folded.
Yes.
They're always somewhere. And like I love describing cozy places like that that feel like the characters have been there for a very long time and they have their lives there. And I just love them.
It's it feels so evident. It feels so homey. I feel like when I am reading the places you're writing, and it's like whether it's Oceanside or just in the small town, like I truly, truly am. obsessed with those. Are there any fun origin stories? Theme park, obviously, just your love of theme parks. I know I mentioned I love the Never Harbor series, and there's a little bit of Peter Pan going on there. Can you talk about that type of inspiration?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I mean, I have a few so with Honeywood in particular, I had written a couple series up to that point, just normal love stories that were fun to tell, but I was in a weird writer burnout phase, and I remember my husband being like, "Okay, if you could read about anything, what would you want to read about?" And I was like, "Oh, theme parks." Because I love theme parks. I love roller coasters. I mentioned in the book that one of the main characters sits on YouTube and watches the POV videos, and I'm like, me, that was me.
Yes, incredible.
So yeah, it once I started writing Honeywood, that was the first series where I think I allowed myself to write an environment that I personally was very excited by.
Mm,
And that sparked everything after that. So Never Harbor, I started writing that immediately after. And it was sparked yet again by that question of what excites me, what gives me inspiration. And it was always, I loved Peter Pan growing up. It was like any adaptation that could be available. I ate it up.
yeah,
And I thought it would be really fun to incorporate a lot of those references and hidden little Easter eggs.
yeah.
And yeah, just it kind of grew from there. Just what is going to be fun for me to research first and foremost and dive into. And with Never Harbor in particular, it's really funny because I've always lived in Georgia. So I knew I wanted a town that was on the East Coast, very sleepy coastal town, right?
Hmm.
And so when I was doing research, I was looking for places that had the population count I was looking for and
Yeah.
um the type of environment. And I ended up narrowing it down to a place in Massachusetts that I had never visited, but I watched vlog videos and I was like, yeah, that
Yeah.
looks to be where it's at. And my husband was like, do you just want to go visit? And I was like, sure. So we took a very quick weekend trip up there and just kind of walked around. I don't know if it was weird or not, but we were walking through neighborhoods and there's their main
Yeah.
street, and it was just so fun. And yeah, any place that's just exciting to explore and research is gonna be where I go.
I absolutely love that. And I'm super blessed to have a lot of creatives here, whether it's bookish creators or authors. And it sounds like the moment you made a choice to do something different, something that you enjoyed and kind of thrilled and excited you, your inspiration took off and maybe some elements of success took off as well. Do you have any advice for sticking to something that just authentically brings you joy and how that can change your career?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think you nailed it. Be authentic to yourself, no matter what that looks like.
Yeah.
If that looks like sports romance, amazing. If that looks like fantasy, awesome. But I think really it's just whatever authentically inspires you to follow that inspiration
Yeah.
and to yeah, just dive into it wholeheartedly. I was once told that the first draft is for you to tell the story to yourself and for you to
Mhm.
enjoy the story as is. And I have stuck with that ever since. I used to do just one draft and then I would kind of go through and edit it a little bit, and that was pretty much it. I mean, I was a very
Yeah.
baby writer, but now I do many drafts, and the
Mhm.
first one is always just for me to tell myself the story, to dive into it, and then every draft after that is okay, now let's make it make sense for
Sure.
readers.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I love that. So, speaking of your process, how do your characters interact with you, or how do you interact with your characters? Do they come to you fully fledged and they tell you their story, or do you tell them their story? Plotter, pantser, all that fun stuff.
So I think it's a little bit of both. So when it comes to plotting and pantsing, I am definitely both. I have plotted more and more the further I've gotten into my career, but my plotting will is just kind of like a general guideline. Sometimes I know that they need to get from point A to point B, but how they get there, I have no idea. And if a new character pops up in that scene, well, now they exist, right? So I start with a plan. I do very heavy character work in the beginning. I really love Enneagrams, so I always try and pick their Enneagram first off.
Love that.
But normally the first 20,000 words gets rewritten over and over and over. And that's act one, basically right up until the 20% mark. And at that point, I've written enough of them that normally their Enneagram changes because I'm like, oh no, I
Mm,
know them a bit better. That's not who they are
yeah.
anymore. Or I've introduced characters on accident and now I have to work them in. Or the backstory I came up with doesn't fit who they are. And so it's a little bit of column A, column B, right? Like
Mm.
I start with a plan, but that plan gets thrown out the window pretty quickly.
Yeah, absolutely. I absolutely love that. One of my favorite things about your characters in particular, I feel like they're extremely three-dimensional and they're very driven by whether it's their core fear or their core truth or something that they're ultimately trying to, like every single book I can think of that I've read by you, they're like really driven by this universal truth about themselves and it's way less like tropey where it's like the single dad does this. And I love that three-dimensional element of your characters. Do you get inspiration from the outside world, or do things just pop into your head for those things? How is that process, making characters truly three-dimensional?
Yeah. Well, first off, thank you. That was very
Oh, of
kind.
course, yeah.
But I mean, inspiration's just kind of drawn from everywhere.
Mhm.
Like, it could be something as simple as watching a movie and being like, ooh, I love how that character reacted to
Mm,
that moment, and just kind of drawing from there. It can be a song, it can be something that I've personally gone through as well. Like, I've definitely incorporated that into books where I'm like, this was a really big, for lack of a better term, character arc for me.
sure.
So it's like, I think sometimes writing works as therapy, where it's like, well, let me work this
Mm,
out and see the different paths that could have been taken or
yeah.
things like that. So it just kind of stems from everywhere.
Absolutely. I also feel like a deep sense of empathy when I read your stories and just like such a diverse type of character. Do you feel like writing has increased your empathy or helped you understand people in a different way?
Oh, 100%.
Mhm,
I think it started with reading for sure and just kind of
mhm.
like grabbing from different genres. But once you start writing, yeah, I mean, especially, and I will love Enneagram until the end of time and I will
Yeah,
talk about it forever, but like,
love it.
especially Enneagrams, because I have this
Mhm.
like super thick book that goes
Yeah.
into each of the numbers and how it affected them and like in their childhood and how their different experiences were shaped, basically how they are when they're healthy, unhealthy,
Mm,
and just the range of emotion that can exist just in one of those nine categories.
sure.
And yeah, I mean, exploring those wounds and
Mhm.
exploring how they became who they are, living lives that I would never live. Like,
Sure.
no, I absolutely love it. I think there is
Mm.
so much understanding to be had there. Like in my book If It Makes You Happy, the main female character Michelle is very type A, very closed off, and and
We don't know
that
anything about that here.
right. But like she is very eldest daughter presenting, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
And I am a little sister. That is not my experience.
Yeah.
But it was, I loved writing her. Like I loved
Mhm.
it because it was exploring a part of reality that I've never experienced and
Sure.
diving into those memories for her and how it
Mm.
shaped her is so fascinating. I love nothing more than writing characters that are nothing like me.
Sure. Well, from an eldest daughter, you executed beautifully. I felt
Oh, thank
incredibly seen by that. Yes. Do you mind sharing your Enneagram?
Yes, I am
Yes.
an Enneagram 4. We're
Oh,
very, very artsy people.
classic, classic. I'm a one.
Oh, my best friend is a one.
I truly believe for the longest time I was an Enneagram 2, and then I started looking into it, and I was like, I might be a 3 or a 1. And to your point, you just have to figure out why some of these decisions or desires are being had within the characters. And I think to authors too, you have just such a great why behind so many of the decisions your characters make. So, really great work.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
Enneagram's so funny because like you can, yeah, I mean, you can have the same conclusion, but the way that two different people get to that same
Mm-hmm.
conclusion or even express that same conclusion
Sure.
is so fascinating.
Yeah.
Like my dad told us recently he's moving to a different state, and
Mm-hmm.
it's in a group text with my brother who is a 5, which is very
Mm-hmm.
analytical. And
Mm-hmm.
so my response, being an emotional 4, was like,
Sure.
"How dare you?" And then his
Sure.
response was like, "I'm not happy, but I understand where you're coming from." And I was like, "We could not be
That's
more
classic.
perfect seen." Yeah.
Yes. Oh my gosh, that's amazing. Well, speaking of characters and just who they are and how they come to you, are there any of your characters off the top of your head that came super easily to you, or any that were really hard to find?
Oh, that's a really good question. Um, Characters that are super easy. Oof. Honestly, I think the characters that are very outgoing are very easy for me to write, and they're the most for me to write. Probably because a lot of them tend to be very mentally healthy.
Sure.
So a little bit easier to explore. But I really love extroverted characters because
Hmm.
I'm very much an introvert. I'm very shy.
Sure.
And my favorite thing is when I'm going through edits and they have inner monologue, and then I'm like, let's just put dialogue tags around that because they're gonna say what they're thinking,
Yeah, yeah.
And that's always really fun for me and
Mhm.
really easy to write. Or just, I don't know, it comes naturally to me, which I really love. I think the harder characters are the ones that are very similar to me.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
Because I think you're like, at that point, you're exploring your own flaws and how do they
Sure.
react to things, and you'll finish writing for
Mhm.
the day and be like, oh, I need to talk to my therapist about that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that. And we chatted before we started. Out with the Tide is just one of my favorite books by you. It's, in my opinion, Sunshine, Sunshine, a little bit extrovert, extrovert. And I think they both have so much to learn just in their sunshineness as well, and like who they are and what they believe. And I just absolutely adore that story so much. But that entire Never Harbor series really has someone for everyone. And I don't know if you did that on purpose, but I'm like, I think every single character that we've met is someone extremely unique.
Cute. Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, it was just there's going to be 5 books in the series, and there's, well, four different brothers, one sister, and
Yeah.
I just I feel like they appeared very distinct to me.
Hmm.
I had them plotted out in book 1 when I first started writing, but you go into those family dynamic scenes, and
Sure.
once again, you plot, but they become who they are in their own right, and
Sure.
trying to distinguish one from the other, I was like, well, this is something this person would say, but not
Hmm.
this person. And so I don't know if it was intentional to have them be so
Yeah.
different, but it was fun to explore those different sibling dynamics between them.
Yeah, they're so just incredibly well done. And kind of just speaking of the differentiation, I feel like another thing I love, again, I'm just like Julie Olivia here. I'm like, sorry, everyone get on board. But I feel like you often, like, you don't write to the standard list of tropes if you look up romance tropes. I think you just tell the stories that these people are looking to tell, like a sunshine, sunshine falling in love, or we'll get to it here, but you're a rock star romance or whatever it may be. Is it hard in today's like book marketing at all to not necessarily write to just like the classic list of tropes?
It's it's interesting because most stories can fall into tropes. Like,
Sure. Hmm.
thankfully, that's just naturally what happens in most
Yep.
stories. Um, the trouble that I get into is if I write something that is not currently in the like cultural consciousness. Like, I
Sure.
feel like rock star romances were very 2010s, and
Hmm.
you still see them now, but
Yeah.
like it's
Yep.
not on the level of, let's say, cowboy, which I
Sure.
love a good cowboy romance.
Classic.
A classic. So I think that's really, yeah, it's kind of weird because you can always find the tropes buried within the story. It's
Sure.
really just like, is that going to be something people want to read? In which case,
Absolutely.
we'll see.
Yeah, I truly love whenever I read you, it feels like the story told itself and then the trope list was made instead of you being like, I'm setting out to write a single dad. And I don't, there could be elements of all that for sure, but I love how it feels to read that. Like it just feels very fresh. So I really appreciate that. Speaking of fresh, I would love to dive into just the if it makes you happy lore. If, and this is just observed timeline, did you start that in the middle of Never Harbor, or what was that side quest or side quest that became main quest look like?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
no. So every fall that would roll around, I
Mhm.
always listened to 90s alternative. I don't know if it's just like the 90s had a lot of like fall type movies, so
So
the
good.
music fits. Like, I'm not sure what
Yes.
it is, but like that is quintessentially fall for me.
Hmm.
So every year I was like, oh, it would be so much fun to write a 90s romance set in fall.
Oh,
And I had that thought for like a couple years, and I think it was 2024. I can't
hmm.
remember now. It was the end of 2023. I'd been thinking about it a lot. I had written a couple chapters just to like, kind of get my toes wet or whatever. And at the end of the year, I was creating my writing plan for the following year, which was
Okay.
2024. And I was like, if I don't write it this year, I'm never going to write it. Like, I know that
Yeah.
about myself. I'm going to have to take a break and never harbor just to get it out of my head, and we'll see what happens.
Mhm.
And yeah, I wrote Out with the Tide that year. I published it, and then I started working on this book, and it was incredible. Like, it's really hard to explain. Like, there are so many books that you put your heart and soul into, and I love every single book I've written, but then there are
Yeah.
some where it's like, maybe this is super artsy fartsy, but I am an Enneagram 4. Um, I
You're
feel
right.
like, yeah, I feel like there are some books that you can just disappear in, that the characters
Hmm.
feel so fleshed out from the beginning,
Hmm.
and you're just kind of existing in the world with them.
Sure.
And at the time, I felt like If It Makes You Happy was so different from something I had written before. It's a lot lower spice than my usual books. It is very slow burn.
Hmm.
I loved writing that. And I remember near the end being like, "Ah, honestly, I don't know if anybody's even going to want to read this. Like, it fits my brand, but it's also pretty different." And
Hmm.
I've just been so overwhelmed and thrilled with how it's turned out, especially since it started as like I just need to get this out of my head and hopefully
Sure.
people like it.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, it's been a crazy journey, but I'm so happy I wrote it, and I still get emotional talking about it
Yeah.
anytime.
Well, we're so happy you wrote it. My
Oh,
gosh.
thanks.
Like, it's truly just phenomenal. I just did a reread here last week prepping for this, and it's just like, man, the nostalgia, and it's just like it transports you to the 90s. I can't I was born in 99, December of 99. So, but like what like just the, from the photos and just the energy and the vibes, like my gosh, it is just like so nostalgic. Like truly. And it's so interesting on this podcast. I've heard the story over and over of like, I had it on my heart to write this specific story, and not even like necessarily like had it on my heart in the way of like, I have to do this for a larger cause. It was like, I need to do this for me. And in so many cases, that book ends up being such a significant piece of people's career. Like,
Yeah,
how cool.
so wild. Absolutely. I could have never predicted. Could have
Yeah.
never predicted it.
Absolutely. What do you feel like this book has done for you, and how have you been evolving with the way that your career has evolved through this story?
It's been
It's a big
really
question.
surreal. Yeah, I know. It's been it's just been such a weird journey. Like, I feel like I don't even remember the question. I don't know.
No, no, just I would say like another angle of this question is just if you could have coffee with yourself when you were right about to start the story, or were like just kind of pondering if it was going to be, what would you tell yourself? Do you have any advice for that version of you?
Oh, that's so crazy. That's a good question. I don't know if I'd tell her anything, because
Just
I
let it
think if
happen.
I did, she would be so intimidated by
Mm.
the prospect of what this means. Like,
Mm.
If It Makes You Happy was picked up by a publisher. It's my first
Mhm.
trad pub release. It's done pretty well, which is incredible. Like, I just think that that pressure would have really gotten to her. I know me, and
Yeah.
any amount of pressure is not good for me. So
Yep.
like, I think I would have continued to allow her to relax into the world. And I
Yeah.
think that that's something I've had to remind myself since I wrote it, is
Mm.
with every book afterward, because I enjoyed that experience so much, just letting myself relax into stories, because when I did do it, I enjoyed it so much. And
Sure.
so just letting myself do that has been just a nice change in my
I love
perspective of
that.
how I approach books.
Absolutely. For anyone who hasn't or has read If It Makes You Happy, I usually sometimes I can find it, sometimes I can't, but I love hearing from authors. Do you have like a thesis statement or something true that you're trying to get across in that story? I think I know what it might be, but what would you consider to be If It Makes You Happy's thesis statement?
I mean, exactly that. Like,
Yeah.
if it makes you happy, it can't be
Hmm.
that bad. Like, I normally do have a theme in my books,
Hmm.
especially when I'm editing. When I go through each chapter, I have like a list of questions I look at after I reread each chapter. And it's basically like, does this match their flaw? Do you have some of, foreshadowing for future things? But
Sure.
it's the number one question is always, does it fit the theme? Is it always working toward the theme, which I
Mhm.
feel like always serves as my North Star.
Mhm.
And yeah, the theme for this book was the lyrics of the
I
Sheryl
love
Crow
that.
song.
That
Like,
was my guess. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, you're right. Yeah.
Yeah. I love that. And what would be, this is, it's sometimes similar, sometimes not. What would be your one wish or hope that people take away from if it makes you happy?
Um,
Same thing, maybe.
Dang, yeah,
Mhm.
I mean, probably the same thing that sometimes what you think you want may not actually be what you
Mm,
want, and maybe the thing that you're adamant against not wanting is exactly what you need.
yeah.
Um, and yeah, I mean, I have heard from a lot of people who identify with Michelle, and I hope that people who read and identify as Michelle know that everything's okay.
Oh my
that
gosh,
that
yes.
it's gonna be fine.
Yes. It's so interesting too, like back to the Enneagram stuff. Like I feel like the thesis statement and what like people take away from the story, like there's so many angles to if it makes you happy, it can't be that bad. Like and it's just like,
Yeah.
I could talk for hours. I hear on that. But I think we need to just chat about Love Felt Like This a little bit because we're getting up on release time. So would you mind giving us a little overview of what we can expect here in September?
Yeah. So Love Felt Like This is about a girl who is reviving a classic TV show. Think like very Jim Henson, Muppet Sesame Street, right?
Love it.
And the rock star, the grumpy rock star that she runs into, who starts making music for the show. And so he's a single dad. Since he's a rock star, his 2-year-old is hidden from the public eye. Nobody knows she's existing. So when he needs to write music, he's like, let's go to your hometown in some mountain in North Carolina and nobody will see me there. And they just write the music together. And there's so many layers to it that I love. I love that we are exploring how fame has affected him and how he's trying to balance being a dad when he didn't expect to be a dad, but
Mhm.
he's trying his best. And he's tired and he's lost his muse. And then, Beverly
Yeah.
pops up with her puppets and it's just so unexpected for him. And I just, yeah, it was a really fun book to write.
I am just truly beyond excited for this one. Just the synopsis, the thesis, like all the above. Like it's just, it has me on the edge of my seat. What was your favorite thing about both of these characters? What inspires you about them?
So, with Beverly in particular, I loved how driven she was,
Mhm.
but I liked that she was driven while still having a playfulness to her. I think that she allowed herself to not take herself seriously, but also took her career very seriously at the same time,
Sure.
and I really love that about her. She was very loosely inspired by Jim Henson. Obviously, she's not a man,
Sure.
but
Yeah.
like I read a couple memoirs, or not memoirs, but biographies about him, and just how he was always very straightforward with what he wanted in his projects, but he also always thought outside of the box, and he trusted his co-creators.
Sure.
And it was always a very joyful environment and inspiring environment, and I think that just encompasses Beverly so well, and
Mhm.
I loved exploring that with her. With Griffin, I liked the idea of a rock star who is in it strictly for the music.
Yeah.
Like, he is he's afraid of heights, so like getting near the edge of a stage is like his worst nightmare. um but I liked two people who were in it for the
Mhm.
love of the game. Like, they love
I
their
love that.
careers, and anything that comes in between them and their career is like a problem.
Yeah.
So, which obviously is where a lot of the
Sure.
conflict comes in.
That was my next question actually, was just how do they challenge each other?
Yeah, I
Mhm.
mean, just trying to bring out the best in each other. I think
Mhm.
that Beverly especially is trying to bring out that playfulness in him, and he's trying to let her relax a little bit more into her career. Like, I think what I really love about Griffin especially is that he is so supportive of
Mhm.
her dreams. I mean, there's an ex that's mentioned in the book that's a big driver of the plot, and he has always thought that her career in puppetry and children's television was just so silly. And I like that Griffin, this grumpy rock star guy, is like, no, I take you very seriously. You're very good at what you do. And it's not what I do, but it's what you do, and you're very good at it.
Sure.
And I don't remember the question, but I just love
Yeah.
him so much.
I'm really just really excited to like just dig into the story. I'm like, I need all of the annotation tools. I need I already know it. Um, if someone loved If It Makes You Happy, what will they be excited to see in Love Felt Like This?
Ooh, so I love a good friends to lovers plot. I
It's my
think,
favorite.
oh, I love it so much. The first time I wrote it, I was like, I don't know if I can look back.
It's
And
just
like, I've
classic.
obviously written other things since then, but
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
like, ugh. So if you love the friends to lovers aspect of If It Makes You Happy, where
Hmm.
they grow very close as partners and companions before they grow close intimately, then I
Sure.
think you'll really like this one. It's very much a slow burn. They're very supportive of each other, but that same element of friendship first
Hmm.
is definitely seen in this book.
I can't wait. I just like literally, this is all I'm gonna think about, I fear. Do I remember correctly? Am I making this up that there's a little bit of a fake dating element to this story as well?
Yes, there's a
That's
fake dating
exciting.
element. Yeah.
Yes.
At
Ugh.
at one point they go to the Grammys, and that was like, I write chronologically, so sometimes when I come
Okay.
up with scenes, it's like I'm
Sure.
building toward that scene. And when
Yeah.
I finally got to that scene, I was like, oh, this is the best day. It was like my favorite writing day. Like I
Yes.
had an absolute blast.
Oh my gosh. There's something about just like those, I love an orcho because just people achieving their dreams. There's something about it. Like I'm always going to be tuned in to that.
Hmm.
Um, and Beverly's also an eldest daughter. Am I
Yeah.
making all this up?
Hmm.
Okay. Yes,
No,
I'm
no,
like,
she's an Alto's daughter. Yeah.
oh my
It's
gosh.
it's interesting though. I think she feels a lot of responsibility toward her younger brother, but it's very
Hmm.
different from Michelle's eldest daughter, where
Sure.
like her sister is, oh, if I remember correctly, 6 years younger than her, maybe.
Hmm.
Whereas Beverly's brother is 16 years younger.
Sure.
He was definitely an accidental baby
Sure.
of older parents who still very
Little
much love each other.
bonus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like a different, it almost is like she's approaching this relationship with like, I am the role model that I need
Mm,
to be for you versus
sure.
taking care of him. I
Sure.
don't know. Yeah.
I love that. And everyone can find that. Is it September 8th? Is that
Yes.
correct? Oh
September
my
8th.
gosh. Incredible. And speaking of places you can find things, I cannot believe I just breezed past this. If It Makes You Happy has a new look in Target here next week.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. That's
So yeah, chat about that for a moment. Oh my gosh, stunning.
Yeah. Oh, just such a dream come true. It comes out August 18th,
Mhm.
which is so soon. And
Yes.
it, yeah, it has sprayed edges. It has a map on the interior, both a
Fun.
map of like the main square of Copper Run,
Hmm.
but then also like the neighborhoods and the general layout.
Incredible.
There's bonus content. So there's like a little
Woo.
Q&A section at the end. And then, this one's really funny. So when I was writing the book, I needed to get like a visual of what the bed and breakfast looked like. Like I
Okay.
looked at house plans, like it was a whole thing. And
Yeah.
when I finally came up with like, okay, this is what it looks like, I had to jot it down. So I had a sticky note on my laptop for the
Hmm.
entire time I was writing it. And when
Amazing.
they were asking about bonus content, I was like, well, do you want that sticky note? And they're like, sure. So the house plan will be in the special
Amazing.
edition as well.
Oh my gosh, how fun. I cannot wait to swing by and get my copy. The edges are just, again,
So
fall.
good.
Like, my gosh.
So good.
It's like you kind of expect to like do the pages and it smell like pumpkin.
Yes,
Like
yes.
it's
Honestly,
just
I should have tried to convince them to do
that
that.
would
Like, what am I thinking?
scratch and sniff edges. Hello.
Exactly.
Oh my gosh. Um, so here's a fun one for anyone who's read your backlist or hasn't yet. Where would you recommend going if they enjoyed If It Makes You Happy?
Ooh, I think, mm, so there's two books I would recommend.
Mhm.
I think starting with Off the Hook, which is the first in my Never Harbor series, is a really good place to
Yes.
start. You've got that single dad element, you've got
Mhm.
them bonding as friends first. You have a lot of the family elements, although a little bit more tumultuous.
Sure.
But other than that, I think I would also recommend people start at Their Free Fall at Last, which is the fourth book in the Honeywood series. It is the last book in the series, but they're all interconnected standalone. So you could start with Bennett and Ruby's book if you wanted to.
Sure.
It has spoilers for the rest of the series. It overlaps with the rest of the books, but it captures that same feeling of friends to lovers, very slow burn, and this like, I hate to use this word, but like almost codependency with each other.
Sure.
I feel like the idea of fated mates, but not in a
Hmm.
fantasy setting almost, you know?
Yes, absolutely. And same question, but what love felt like this for fans of which
Ooh,
books in your backlist?
oh my gosh. I felt like that's for Hmm. Oh, that's such a good question. Gosh, I don't know.
It's one of a
Um,
kind.
yeah, I know. Maybe Off the Hook,
Okay.
maybe. Because he is a grump and she's very sunshine. But I also don't think I've ever written a sunshine character like Beverly before.
Sure.
Um, and I've never written somebody like Griffin either, because I feel like if you're comparing him to Jasper from Off the Hook, Jasper is far grumpier
Okay.
than Griffin. Oh, that's such a good question. I
Yeah.
don't know. I guess
No,
I would say
no.
Off the Hook for sure.
I love that. And I'm also a big Off the Hook fan. And I love it's the nanny dynamic, but oh, sorry, my dog's very excited. But she agrees.
Mhm.
But I love their dynamic. And that book is brother ex's brother. Yes.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
that one's yeah. So
so good.
it's loosely inspired by Peter Pan. So
Yes.
Jasper and Wendy are
Mhm.
Hook and Wendy, and it's ex-fiance's older brother, and the
Yes.
ex-fiance is Peter. So it's messy, but in the
I
best way.
love it. I love it. I love it. My gosh. Amazing. Well, and then just quick side note, because I know this is technically an audio medium, please go to Julie's Instagram because your character art is just unreal. Specifically, the art of Beverly with the coat, the purple
Yes.
coat. Oh my
Oh my
gosh.
gosh. I have rarely commissioned character art until this year.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm just gonna go for it, and it has been an addiction. Like there are
It's,
so many talented artists out there who just
oh
create
my gosh.
perfect works, and yeah, I it's just incredible. Absolutely.
Unreal. I love it. Well, kind of wrapping us up here, we know what's coming right down the pipe for you, but also you have some exciting Never Harbor announcements for 2027. Can we touch on that really quick?
Yeah, yeah. So
Amazing.
there's going to be five books in the Never Harbor series, and the last two are unreleased. So
Mhm.
right now they are planned for a rapid release. So it'll be book four in February and book five
Mhm.
in April, and then that'll wrap up the series. But
Amazing.
it's been a lot of fun living with
Yes.
them again and just kind of back to back writing those books.
Sure.
And I'm really going to miss that family. But it's
Yeah,
going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be
I'm
a big
thrilled.
celebration.
I cannot wait. So I truly, if if you usually enjoy my book recommendations, Julie Olivia is just the place to be. Like it's everything I love in a book. So I'm really, really grateful for what you do and the stories you share. I know there's a lot of vulnerability and emotion put into those, so we really appreciate you.
Thank you so much. That's very kind.
Yeah, absolutely. Is there anything that you would love for readers to know while we have them hostage in book club?
Oh my gosh. No, I don't think
Yeah.
so. We
Yep.
have Never Harbor coming out. Love Felt Like This is going on tour. The book features a children's show similar to
Mhm.
Sesame Street, and which is has a bunch of bird puppets, and I am
Yeah.
building the main puppet for the series
Oh my
to take
gosh.
on tour with me. Yeah.
Amazing. Are you
Oh,
documenting that process?
I am.
Okay,
So
I
I'm
cannot wait.
posting I'm posting the videos on Instagram. I'm posting one a week up until
Fun.
tour starting September 8th.
Amazing. Oh my gosh. Well, how fun is that? Has that just been a fun little side quest, kind of brain
Yeah.
break, or
Yeah, I
different kind
mean,
of thing?
I am not a crafty person at all. So
Yeah.
it's like ever. So it's been a fun adventure playing with hot glue that's like
Yeah.
burned me a billion times, but it's been fun.
I love it. Well, I cannot thank you enough for your time and your stories and just for coming on and chatting with us about everything you have in the works. Truly, like, just appreciate you so much.
Well, thank you so much. This was
Yeah.
so much fun.
Yay. Well, I so appreciate you and book club. I will see you all in the next one.